The two sides are just a goal difference. Meanwhile, fourth position, Colombe Sportive of Nja and Lobo started out equally with 6 points. Gazelle FA 5 points. Dynamo of Douala 3 points, and Canon Sportive, who has not had a good start since the start of this particular playoff, is still at the bottom after match day 5. And mind you that her next encounter is really going to be, should I say, very, very intriguing, especially when Young Sport is coming with the intention that everybody has walked through past Canon Sportive of Yaoundé. That means that they have confidence that equally they are going to walk through past Canon Sportive of Yaoundé, who is at the bottom in terms of the classification for the M10 Elite 1 player. And let's look at the fixtures equally of this particular match day 6 that will be commencing as from this Friday that is coming up. And there's one particular interesting thing about match day 6 of the M10 Elite 1 player. And equally to tell you that they are just left with 2 match days, that is match day 6 and match day 7. Woo! Between Young Sports Academy, Cotton Sport of Garoua, Victoria United, and Colombe Nja and Lobo equally would tussle harder for the title for this year's season. And the fixtures in terms of the play-up and play-down for the MTN Elite 1 Championship since tomorrow, Thursday, 11th of April 2024 at the Omi Sports Stadium over there in Yaoundé, Annex 1. At exactly 2 o'clock, Aigle Royal of the Menwa will lock horns with Apaches of Fifu, and 4 o'clock, it's going to be Babu Tusa Buddha against Avion Academy. Meanwhile, starting at the Annex Stadium over there in Olimbe, it's going to be Lazarus of Douala that will clash against Fuvu Azu, and that game is going to be played at 4 o'clock. Friday, 12th of April, still on the Elite, the play down. It is going to be Fuvu Club of the Baham against the Bakwa Boys of PWG of Bamenda. 2 o'clock, that game is going to be played, and at exactly 4 o'clock, Union Sportive of Douala against S Fortuna. And let's go straight away to look at what's going to transpire in terms of the player, where this particular all the games have been scheduled for Friday, 12th April 2024, where at the Bapelepe Stadium at exactly 2 o'clock, Dynamo against Stade Renard of the Melon. At exactly 4 o'clock, Victoria United against Cotton Sport of Garoua. Same time, 2 p.m. at the Bona Musa Stadium, it's going to be Gazelle clashing against Colombe Sportive of Nja and Lobo. And meanwhile, Young Sports Academy is going to battle with Canon Sportive of Yaoundé. If you're very keen, you will discover that all the games have been scheduled the same time in terms of all the 4 fixed games that are going to be played as coming Friday, 12th of April 2024, and get to tell you that we are getting closer and closer to the end of this particular tussle for the title between the Elite 1 clubs. Like I earlier said, between Young Sports Academy, who currently stands as the first in terms of classification, followed by Cotton Sport of Garoua, third by Victoria United, and fourth by Colombe of Nja and Lobo. It's going to emerge victorious after the 7 days of play for the MTN Elite 1 player. Question mark, and only from Friday are we going to determine who is at the upper edge in terms of securing this particular title. And away from the MTN Elite 1 fixtures and equally what transpired for match day 5, let's look at what equally happened 2 days back in terms of the Inimitable Lions Den, where it was Coach Mark Breeze who has spent down his contract at the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education alongside his other technical staff that were appointed on April 2nd by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Asemgole Kombi, and that particular signature was carried out in the absence of the Fecafoot boss. Let's listen to more details in this particular report. Appointed on April 2nd, 2024 by the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Nases Mole Kombi, Mark Breeze, who has no African experience, landed yesterday at the Yaoundé Simalène International Airport. The Belgian coach today alongside his other technical staff all answered present at the Minister's office, as they have equally signed their contract. Among other invitees, the president of the Fecafoot Bureau, Samuel Eto'o, was absent. This is because, according to a report circulating on social media, he was only invited 2 hours after the ceremony had started, in request saying that he traveled in preparation of his father's burial. It should be reminded that Fecafoot Executive Committee equally sat down some days back in relation to the controversies surrounding the new coach to appoint a new coach within 72 hours. No result yet has been yielded from this particular ultimatum from the Executive Committee. Next big question is, how will Mark Briggs work smoothly when the FA of the country does not recognize him? Upon arrival, Mark Briggs said he is anxious to start this new assignment as head coach of the Inevitable Lions of Cameroon, and his first assignment comes up on June 3rd ahead of the World Cup qualifier. Will Cameroon Football Federation bow to the minister's orders, or will the invisible fight continue? Mark Briggs will equally head the national team for 2.5 years renewable. The first phase result of the Southwest Region preliminary rounds of the Cup of Cameroon stands as follows. The second phase draws have been scheduled for tomorrow, Tuesday, April 9, 2024 at the Southwest Regional Bureau. To the 2023-2024 playoffs, PWG of Bamenda fails to defeat her opponents as she ends up picking up a 0-0 tie. Just like PWG of Bamenda, Bafokeng United, after 5 games played, have only picked up 1 point since their participation in the playoff for the MTN Elite 2 Championship. Meanwhile, the boys of David Paku were equally defeated by Gazelle 2-1, securing her first 3 points of the championship. And the second game of the day saw Young Sports Academy split points with Cotton Sport of Garoua, defending champions. And this automatically means that Yosa remains at the helm of this particular classification after the split points. Meanwhile, tomorrow fixtures will see at the MTN Elite 1 Championship, we'll see Dinamo of Douala clash against Colombe Sportif of Nja and Lego at exactly 4 p.m. Meanwhile, 2 p.m. it's going to be Victoria United against the Southwest Regional Bureau. To the 2023-2024 playoffs, PWG of Bamenda fails to defeat her opponents as she ends up picking up a 0-0 tie. Just like PWG of Bamenda, Bafokeng United, after 5 games played, have only picked up 1 point since their participation in the playoff for the MTN Elite 2 Championship. Meanwhile, the boys of David Paku were equally defeated by Gazelle 2-1, securing her first 3 points of the championship. And the second game of the day saw Young Sports Academy split points with Cotton Sport of Garoua, defending champions. And this automatically means that Yosa remains at the helm of this particular classification after the split points. Meanwhile, tomorrow fixtures will see at the MTN Elite 1 Championship, we'll see Dinamo of Douala clash against Colombe Sportif. Yes, Mark basically took on to himself to equally visit some of the stadiums, and like for instance the Olympic Stadium, where he's actually doing some survey on how to get familiar in terms of the various pitches here in Cameroon. As to him, his own work has started, and away from the corridors of the Lions Den, let's talk about a little bit of interesting moment that transpired between the game Victoria United and Canon Sportif of Yaoundé in terms of match day 5 of the MTN Elite 1 Championship. Losing 2 consecutive games, Victoria United unleashed her anger on Canon Sportif of Yaoundé as the side won 3-0 at the Bona Moussa Stadium, playing a goalless first 45 minutes of play. The next segment saw a new fighting spirit from Victoria United that saw Richmond G deliver a brace and Wilfred Nathan score from the penalty spot. To be Panama controls for Victoria United. What is happening this afternoon? Wilfred Nathan to one of Victoria United. He plays alongside to it's a goal! And yes, Victoria United outward scores at Moussa Stadium, and that is fish from Enacho with an assist. Sportive, who has recorded just 2 points in 5 games, stands at the bottom on the classification table after this defeat from Victoria United. Meanwhile, Victoria United moves from the 5th to the 3rd position with 9 points, immediately behind Cotton Sport of Garoua with equal points with just goal difference separating the both teams. Cotton Sport, who has been impatiently waiting for Victoria United, will battle together on Friday 12 at the Mbapelepe Stadium, just like the battle between Victoria United and Cotton Sport of Garoua at 4 p.m. Young Sports Academy will equally battle Rukanon at the same time, same day. The second game of the day saw Dynamo of Douala split points with Colombe Sportive of Nja and Lebo, ending up on a 1-1 odd time. Dynamo fans, despite the back-to-back defeats and draws, have continued to cheer their players thanks moves. Yes, we come back to the Southwest region to look at the fixtures of the second phase for the preliminary round of the Cup of Cameroon, which will commence or continue tomorrow, Thursday, here in Boya and equally Kumba and in Nimba in terms of locations for these particular games, where fixture 1 is going to see tomorrow, Thursday, 11th of April in Kumba at the GBS School Field. It's going to be at 1:30 p.m. Legend FA will play against Future Dreams FA. Meanwhile, 3:30 Kumba City Football Club will clash against Bright Stars FC. Saturday, 13th of April 2024 in Boya, 11 a.m. Talented FA will clash against Al Jazeera Sports Academy. Meanwhile, 2 p.m. at the Molikome Sports Stadium, Sinodev against Best Stars Academy. 4 p.m. same location, Molikome Sports Stadium, Tico United will play against Fako United. And equally, the federation is reminding all the clubs to make sure that they have valid licenses in terms of that particular second phase of the Cup of Cameroon preliminary rounds. And away from that, let's look on to the Fako divisional level, where they equally will be participating for this Cup of Cameroon in terms of the divisional level, where Pool A is actually going to see a Toke Sports Academy for the underprivileged. Meanwhile, New Stars Soccer Academy, Rising Stars Football Academy, Boya City Football Club, and it is Wongangang Sports Initiative. Wonganga Sports Initiative. And meanwhile, Pool B equally is going to see Destiny Restoration Sports, Lions Heart Elite Soccer Academy, Fako Eagle Sports Academy, and Zamu Sports Academy International. Meanwhile, the 5th position is Afik Midi Football Club. And that is it in terms of the Fako Divisional Championship for this 2023-2024 season. And yes, with this particular Fako Divisional League clubs that are going to be participating in this year's season, and this is where we get to say bye-bye for now in terms of the sports updates. Now, when we come back, we are going to be calling the president of Livada Lions Club. And mind you that Livada Lions is equally one of the football clubs this season here in the Southwest Regional League that has been affected in terms of licenses. And the club president equally, you all have been asking, why is it that we keep talking about the issue of licenses without no personnel from the various clubs that have been affected. And this is the chance for you to have an overview of what some of these club presidents equally have as their own stand for why they have not been playing games or why they have been ruled out in terms of this particular season. You wouldn't want to miss the conversation between the president of Livada Lions, which is Gordon Zama. Just do not touch this dial. We will come back. We will be talking to him. we earlier told you, we will be talking to the president of Live and Alliance, and that's no other person than President Gordon Zama. He is the one in charge of Live and Alliance, and he will be giving to us what their claims have been, because if you have been following Live and Alliance, about you that they started this season last year with the Southwest Regional League, and equally this year they have been having a little bit of issues in terms of licensing since the start of March the 1. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us, President.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. President, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, good evening.
President, before we get to talk about some of the very pertinent issues happening with Live and Alliance, first of all, tell us who is Live and Alliance?
Live and Alliance is a team in Limbe, based on second year in the regional league. And as I'm speaking to you, we have been declared general.
Talk to us about Live and Alliance objective for this season before the whole issue. Talk to us about Live and Alliance objectives for this season before the whole issue of licenses came up.
No, Live and Alliance, we played 1 year in the divisional league and then we qualified for the regional league. Last year we participated in the regional league and it's our second year in the regional league. And we're a team that we are looking to develop young talent. The general age of our team is about 16 years old. We have a very young team and we're looking to build a team that can develop the stars of the future. Unfortunately, we have not been able to play these last 2 matches because of the license issues, and we were surprised that Fekafu declared us general for future.
And now there's been some speculations about this license issue. Should we say that Live and Alliance did not pursue their documents in time? Or what actually is the problem?
No, we consider surprised that on the eve of the first match, that is when Fekafu looked at the document. We put a few corrections to the document and submitted it for the match. They gave us a notice of about 6 hours. That they called us around 11 p.m. at night and told us to correct the documents and input in the system before the next match, before our first match at 1 p.m. the next day. We did all of that, but since then our system has not been looked into. So unfortunately we don't have licenses. Because the only licenses that we have are the licenses people and children of the team. The players don't have licenses.
And the players' documents and everything was sent for to the federation.
Everything is in the system. Everything is in the federation. It's just for the federation to confirm, and they have not confirmed till now.
And now we saw you took on your Facebook page indicating that you were supposed to have a meeting with the federation in terms of appeal. You appealed after this federation had ruled you out. How far with the case?
Yes, we have appealed at the level of Yaoundé and we have been the correspondence to Boya. We have not had a response from them and we are hoping that we'll have a response for the program, the 3 matches. Because for us the most important thing is that our kids can go back to playing football. It's going to be a very sad thing for Southwest football in particular and Cameroonian football in general. If we have 8 teams, instead of 8 teams unable to participate in this year's league.
Now talk to us as Live and Alliance. What would be your greatest wish for you this year?
We hope that common sense can come in and then authorities, those who are responsible for the licenses in Boya, because Fekafu only issued a communique saying that the regional offices of Fekafu are responsible for the licenses. They can call the teams that are concerned and we can sit in the meeting and see what we can do about the licenses. Because I think it's going to be disastrous for Southwest football to lose all of these beautiful teams. You know, we have historical teams like Prison Boya that don't have licenses. We have Blitzwood of Siko. We have Istanbul. No, so it will be very bad for Fekafu to lose all of these teams after losing Jarakwan Sports Academy last year. The pray that concerns can chip in and we can sit together as one football family and find a solution to this very difficult problem.
Thank you very much, President.
Thank you very much, Senator. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And that is is it. That is what the president of Liverpool Lions had to say in terms of this particular issue of licenses to you. Like I earlier told you, we have been contemplating if it is the federation that is at fault or are there the clubs that have refused or that refuse to send for their documents at the right time and at the right moment and equally at the right location? You have heard from President Gordon Zama of Liverpool Lions, whom has been on social media decrying the situation of the issue of licenses, and here he tells you that they had already sent for their documents earlier before the deadline, and today they have not been satisfied yet in terms of this particular issue of license, which has been prohibiting them from playing games just like other clubs. And like you earlier heard, we have clubs like Praises FC, Istanbul, and Littlefoot, and a host of others, about 7 or 9 so clubs equally have been ruled out in terms of this particular season. And we ask ourselves, are things going to get better? And equally to tell you that these clubs that have been ruled out are equally not participating in the preliminary rounds of the Cup of Cameroon. And these are some very pertinent issues that are equally hard here this time around here in the Southwest Regional League. This is not what we had last year, and this time around there has been a turn of tables, and we're asking that and praying that the things get better. Especially remember that the bigger the number, the larger the number, the more competitive a league definitely becomes. And yes, we are having on set today, it's no other person than Boris Osolo that is going to be helping us dissect some of these very pertinent issues. And I know that he's very happy since Manchester City equally picked up a 3-3 tie against my own side, Real Madrid. Welcome, Boris Osolo, and thank you for joining me on the program tonight.
Thank you very much, Sonita Nguni. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you once more, and it's a pleasure to continue our own quarter in dissecting what is happening in Cameroon football, what is happening in the Southwest region, what is happening as far as African perspective is concerned. And in terms of African perspective, unfortunately for our own boy Chemalong, with Simba still were beaten as far as the CAF Champions League is concerned. And equally in terms of the UEFA Champions League, various exciting games have been on so far. And tonight equally the action continues with FC Barcelona against Paris Saint-Germain. So I think it's important that we keep spotlighting these activities, not just in Cameroon, not just in Africa, but equally across the world.
Thank you very much. And equally to talk about the Chemalong, I saw some little bit of reports online where you find this very solid heart defender who started this particular career right back here in Cameroon, and he goes forth by saying that his dream is to play in the national team. And yes, Boris Osolo, we are going straight away to talk about our first topic of discussion today, which says that despite the absence of the FECAFOOT boss, Magbouis equally goes ahead to sign this particular contract. First of all, to Chemalong's desire or dream or wish that he actually wants, are we going to say that maybe it's going to be a turnaround for this particular solid defender Chemalong to why not be on the limelight in terms of the new recruits to build up the national team?
Well, first of all, in terms of the signing, remember we were here a couple of days back and we were looking at the possibility of whether Magbouis will sign a contract or not, or whether FECAFOOT will continue its opposition in this particular case. And they are still there as far as the opposition is concerned. We don't know if at all we're going to see a conclusion in this particular issue anytime soon. Remember that the president of the FECAFOOT, that's Mr. Samuel Eto'o, is burying his father this weekend, and so probably next week we might get a clear picture of whether FECAFOOT will maybe come on a side with the ministry in terms of this particular signing of Magbouis. Remember, like you said earlier, Magbouis has already signed. He signed a 2.5-year contract as a coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. He has been shown across some of the states here out there in the capital, and that tells you that the ministry is already going ahead. They are not looking back whether the fact that FECAFOOT is on board or FECAFOOT is not on board. They are moving ahead. And you made a very vital point there. And if you listen to Magbouis after he signed his contract, he was interviewed afterward, though the audio is not very much clear from our colleagues out there in Yaoundé. he made a very vital point that they are going to be looking forward to new players who have never been called up as far as the national team is concerned. And this means that not just Chemalong in Tanzania, even the local leagues in Cameroon. Remember that we've been talking about the fact that we need the coach of the national team to equally be spotlighting players in the Elite 1 Football Championship and players in the Elite 2 Football Championship. And I believe that at every point of view, and with the coming of Magbrace, we might have an opportunity to see a number, not just one or two, but a number of players have been called to the national team. So for now, it is a very important step that it is not only Chemalong, because he's performing absolutely well with Simba, despite the fact that they missed out on the semi-final or so of the Champions League, the CAF Champions League, but opportunities equally are to be given to players not just in the Elite 2, but equally players as far as the Elite 1 Football Championship is concerned.
And definitely, let's talk about this issue where I think it has never happened, where you have to find the FA of any country not in accord with what the ministry, following what the head of state actually said in terms of his speech in the 11th February. But now, how many persons have been asking me recently, Boris Esono, I put it to you, what happens in terms of management? Who is going to sign in terms of the path for the federation, despite the fact that we have been seeing several communiques saying that the FECAFOOT Bureau does not recognize this particular coach that was equally appointed by the federation, in as much as the federation is yet to reply to what the executive committee equally sat down and gave in as an ultimatum for the FECAFOOT boss to equally appoint the coaching department and staff in less than 42 hours, which 72 hours rather, and which has already elapsed.
Yeah, it elapsed yesterday at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And on social media, a lot of people, not just journalists, sports journalists, but a lot of enthusiasts, lovers of football in the country were very much eager. Even by 2 p.m., people were already asking, is 72 hours not over? But we're trying to caution them that no, it has to be around 4 p.m. That aside, I think it's going to be quite crucial to see the next step of the FECAFOOT boss. I always use the statement, and I use the statement that it's very difficult to fight the state, because remember that it's the state that pays the money in terms of the national team. The coach of the national team, the assistant is paid by the state. And you used a point of view earlier that what happens with the signature, and that's a question that was put to me by a number of people, that what is the next step? Can FIFA come in? Are we not afraid? The big boss is FIFA. FIFA is the one that bans as far as playing international football is concerned. So they are like, is FIFA going to ban us? Are we going to have an national committee? Let me just put it out there and we expatiate on this particular aspect. One thing we have to understand is this. In the normal contract that FIFA recognizes, there has to be 3 signatures. But on other occasion, FIFA will recognize 2 signatures. So 2 signatures are okay. But I'll tell you why 2 signatures are okay and why 2 signatures are not okay.
Okay.
Why do I say 2 signatures are okay and what are the 2 signatures? Remember, we go back in history. Like I said, Cameroon is a continent that operates differently. In other federations, ban comes in within the next 1 minute or so, sharp. But in Cameroon, it's totally different. So you go back in history and you look at what transpired with the appointment of Jean-Paul Akono as far as the national team is concerned. What transpired equally with what happened as far as the signing of Otto Fisdem, the coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon in history is concerned. FECAFOOT did not sign off. The ministry signed, the coaches they signed. The FECAFOOT did not sign. What happened? The likes of Otto Fisdem went about with his daily activity. I think he had a 2-year or so at the helm of the national team. There was no problem. FIFA did not step in. So that's why we're saying that 2 signatures can go. It will not be a big problem. That means the ministry has already signed, and that's why we saw the signing ceremony a couple of days back. Coach has signed, Magbrace, the assistants, technical staff equally, but not all. Remember,
Yeah,
FIFA Food is the one paying some of the staff. For example, we have the team press officer, or you currently have the likes of the team manager. So there are a couple of staff that are paid by FIFA Food
Yeah.
and not the ministry. So a couple of them at the moment, there's still a fight ongoing in that particular domain. But let's continue the aspect of the two signatures. Like we said, the two signatures here has to do with the coach and the Ministry of Sport. That's the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, President Asismole Kwame. So these two signatures are okay in the eyes of FIFA. So for now, we are safe. So all the fans out there, I was saying that FIFA might step in at the moment and the normalization committee and so on and so on. For now, the reason why I say for now, I stress on the word for now. Why do I say so? The second bone of contention here is FIFA recognizes two signatures if and only if the FA does not write to FIFA to complain.
Okay.
So if after the burial of Samoto's dad comes up next week and writes to FIFA that I don't recognize the coach and so on and so on, the government has interfered, then FIFA will step in as to the aspect of interference of the government in the management of football in the country. That means two options. We're either going to be banned from international football. Remember, we have the FIFA qualifier that is coming up in June.
Definitely.
So either we are banned or normalization committee we brought it. So these are the two outcomes that might come up if and only if the federation writes to FIFA. But if the federation does not write, we are safe. Then FIFA, the negotiation might go backstage between the ministry and Africa Food to see how the president can sign the document, and maybe a concession by the ministry to say, okay, if you don't want this domain, okay, you're going to appoint the team press officer, you're going to appoint the team manager, and we continue with the coach that we have appointed. So there might be a concession. I'm talking about the backstage negotiation that might
remember,
come.
this is this concession that we have been talking since the start. I think that if there was an understanding already between these two parties, all this saga here and there, all the clashes would have been absent. But now we see we're going back to ask ourselves that is the federation going to align to what the ministry has already started, or are they going to retaliate by equally writing to FIFA? And see that these are the issues that we are asking ourselves. And I want to put it to you, Boris Sodo, next week equally, despite the fact that this 72 hours has already elapsed, next week it's going to be, before talking about next week, let's talk about FIFA Food's own excuse why they were absent in terms of that particular signatory, where we saw that FIFA Food writes clearly that they were notified 2 hours before that when that ceremony actually started. And to you, will you see that will you see that in a way that means that the FA of the country was not seen as a body even to be present in that particular ceremony? Or will you say that the ministry rather just forgot because of the excitement of the new coach and all that? To you, what will you say?
Well, actually, two communiques were actually brought out by the Cameroon Football Federation. One, they've come out not officially, but just sources within the federation saying that the second communique that was brought forward is fake, and the second communique has to do with the fact that they wrote, and Mr. Samuel Eto'o said he could not be there because he's begging his dad. And so you ask yourself a question: is FIFA Food a private body or a public body?
And even
if it's a public body,
he has up to four vice presidents.
there are first, second, third, and fourth vice presidents. There's even the Secretary General who can attend on behalf of the president. And so, like I said, that particular aspect, some people say that it is fake. So we are with the official communique, because when you say it is fake, definitely has to be an official communique to indicate that what I said earlier. Remember that the Minister of Sports and Physical Education started by giving a minute of silence due to what the president had indicated in that letter. So it shows that to him it is authentic, and now if close sources say that it is fake, then we are expecting another communique from the president to indicate that it was a fake communique. But that aside, it's very important that there's a concession that comes up between these two bodies. Remember, the FA Fecafoot is in charge of organizing football, and in terms of the selection of coaches for the national team, there must be an understanding between the ministry and the Cameroon Football Federation headed by Mr. Samuel Eto'o. And if the Fecafoot is not consulted, I don't think we can outrightly say that the process was done smoothly. There are some gaps that needs to be filled, and for it to be filled, it means that the FA president must be involved in that process.
Very true.
I go back to the first time where we had this discussion to indicate that Fecafoot sent 3 names, and remember, it was not only 3 candidates that were going in for the selection process. We had about 8 candidates before Magbis was chosen amongst the others. We had Everina, Jose Peseiro, and Fabio Cannavaro that was sent by Mr. Samuel Eto'o for the consideration of the President of the Republic, President Paul Biya. But after the validation process, the interview and the others, the FA, the ministry said, one, the money that these guys were demanding was a lot, and that Cameroon has never paid that amount, and that's one of the boxes that mark X
now,
as far as the appointment.
Just to cut you short, don't you think that the federation would have gone further to say this is our range? I think we should look for a coach within this range.
Well, I don't think the FA can really do that, because why? You are looking at a point of view where, first of all, it is a ministry that the country that pays, not Fecafoot. So Fecafoot doesn't have that latitude to discuss really the budget, because if Evegena says pay me 85 million a month, Fecafoot cannot really do much. Fecafoot can just say, okay, we are going to table it to the ministry.
Definitely.
And if the ministry says, sorry, I cannot pay this amount, like I said, it is all about communication. The ministry, to me, I don't know if they got back to Fecafoot to indicate to them that no, this amount is exorbitant, we cannot pay this amount, it is unheard of that the country pays this amount for a coach. If that information would have been given to Fecafoot, or if it was given to Fecafoot, then Fecafoot doesn't have a bucket to complain. But if it was not given to them, and like they say, they are seeing it like any other person, then there's a problem. There is a big problem in that particular domain. But like I said, what we need to understand here is we need concession. We cannot keep going like a headless dog that doesn't have a direction. And we cannot keep being in a country where the football team in code is handled by 2 coaches. It is not done anywhere. Fecafoot needs to understand that for them to have a coach, they need a signatory of the ministry. And the ministry too needs to understand that Fecafoot is the one in charge of organizing football. I think those 2 things are really missing at the moment. You know, when they will say when you have 2 big bosses, you have 2 elephants, what suffers is the grass. So I think at the moment there are 2 big bosses, the elephants, that's the ministry, and Fecafoot. They don't want to concede. And the problem now and the issue now is that it is Cameroon football that's going to suffer. If, like we said, and like we say, if Fecafoot writes to FIFA, there's going to be a problem. Either we're sanctioned in various domains, the Malaysian community, or banning our national team from taking part in international football. So there needs to be a concession. Can we see that happen? I think so. Why do I say so? You look at what transpired during the tenure of Mr. Rigobert Song, when he was appointed as the head coach of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, I think 2 years back. What happened? Fecafoot signed, that's Mr. Samuel Eto'o signed the contract. Rigobert Song signed the contract. One signature was missing. Do you know that? The signature of the ministry was missing. So Song went about his daily activity for 6 months without salary, until the ministry signed, as the Minister of Sports signed, before Song had his payment. So what we're saying is this: if Fecafoot comes up to me and says my coach is this, and the ministry says since you want to show strong head in court, I will also show you strong head. I will not sign the contract. And if he doesn't sign the contract, the Ministry of Finance cannot pay the coach. Like we say, it is the government that pays the coach and his assistant. So if Mr. Samuel Eto'o says that, okay, maybe he has money from Fecafoot, and remember, Fecafoot money comes from where? The government, from the state coffers. And that money also goes to the clubs themselves through subvention. So where is the money going to come from to pay the coach? So the Mbaya dance that they are dancing at the moment, there needs to be a solution, and that solution is for both heads of the institution to sit down together. We must not know when they sit together. That's the thing. We must not know.
Definitely.
Let them sit in their own quarter,
private quarter.
What
we want to see results.
And Mr. Samuel signs without us even knowing.
Yeah.
Or the ministry comes to a concession. Say, okay, President Samuel Eto'o, we're going to take the coach, we're going to take the assistant. Okay. The other technical staff that we appointed, we're going to say, okay, you handle that and appoint the people that you want and you pay them. Concession. Done in private, we must not know. But both parties come to an understanding for the betterment of football in this country.
And the question we are asking ourselves is, are the two parties going to lie low to have a better understanding so that there's a lot of controversies equally can limit itself? And remember that in any moment from now, Mark Boyce equally will be looking at the various players where that he has to call. You wouldn't want, these players equally would not want a situation where they are caught up when the federation it's not on a good state with the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education, and that goes by having they all be having a divided minds whether they should play or not. I remember that if psychologically these players equally are not upright, it's going to affect their performance in terms of. Remember that we are having the FIFA World Cup qualifier that will be coming up in the months of
So
June.
if I might just step in a bit, you made a very vital point, and I want to talk about this point as to the aspect of the players. I got a funny message, and even some of these are bloggers. I don't know what they are doing. Some have taken sides. Some are siding with the ministry. Some are siding with Fecafoot, but they don't know that it is instead our football that is going to suffer.
Very true.
When you take sides and left, right, center. And someone made a point that Fecafoot will do in such a way that some of these are international players that we know will not come and play for the national team. I'm like, are we serious? No. Are we serious?
That's selfishness now.
To think that
The FA
because the FA and the ministry
are
loggerhead. For example, Choupo-Moting, when he scored, he will turn it down because of the fact that he's siding with Fecafoot.
Yeah.
Come on, what are we saying? Who are we fooling ourselves with? So it's, first of all, to me, if that's what's going to happen, very bad from the players themselves. And secondly, I always say, and I said it last time, and I'll keep saying it, it's high time we start looking at building from the base. The base is our local leagues. That's where the base is in every country. Look at Spain. Spain won the World Cup with almost 80% of players from Barcelona playing in the Spanish La Liga. Almost 80% of them. Germany won the World Cup equally. Most of the players play in Germany in their local leagues. German Bundesliga is a local league in Côte. France won the World Cup. Most of their players were playing well. So we have to look at developing and making sure that our league is at a very high level, that when we call our players, our players are readily available. We keep saying that we are calling these players are not coming, we keep saying that this level is... No. Why don't we develop our local league to the point where when we call our local based players, first of all, it's spotlighting these players.
Very true.
Secondly, these players are getting money, because when you go to the national team, money enters your account.
Yeah.
Enters your account, not just your account, your family's account. And so what happened with Nathan Douala? He shared some to his teammates. That's what we want to see. So it is not just about the fact that we call international players. I'm not saying that we should not call international players.
But it should be a
the players have they are playing well. For example, there's never a day I'll call a player and not call Andre Onana. Am I crazy? If I'm calling 3 goalkeepers. No, I'm just saying, it's my own opinion. There's never a day I'll call any goalkeeper at the moment without putting Andre Onana. Even if I'm taking goalkeepers from the local league, because of the quality and experience that Andre Onana has. There's never a day I'm going to call somebody up front without bringing Brian Bremo. despite the fact that he had an injury. But he was one of the best players we had.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he had an injury before the AFCON. So these are the things that we need to look at. We have to do a melange of the international players and the local players. You not tell me that a player like Richmond G does not have a place in the national team. In the number of goals that he's scoring at the moment. Chindo Jumbo School. Just get
Even
them in
if,
the national team.
Boris, this is one thing I think we should put it clear. Even if it is not the national team, we have other categories and levels in terms of the Lion Colors. What about the under 20, under 17, under 23 intermediate? I think that it's high time for FA equally to be able to fit and nurture these various levels so that we will be proud one day to say we have a plan B or a team B of our national team, that if plan A or team A has to fail, then we should have a solid plan B, which is what even right down to our local leagues or local teams here, we don't have it. It's always patching up something here that I think that teams equally have to work on it. If you're having about, let's say, 32 players, then you should be able to have about 22 good players that you can craft out Team A and Team B, with the rest being a substitute to equally supplement or complement this other Team A and Team B. And I think that if the FA has to equally work on not just a national team but all the other categories, then we should be saying that even in 10 years to come, if each and every category is definitely going to be sophisticated with not just any kind of players, but sophisticated, talented players that can be able to deliver us the good results that we want.
Senator, we've talked about this aspect of management of football in the country, and like we said, the aspect of the national team has to be not just the senior national team, but we have to invest a lot in the CHAN selection. Remember, CHAN will be coming up in the next couple of months. Equally, the AFCON is coming up in Morocco 2025. We have the under 20 Lions of Cameroon, the under 17 Lions of Cameroon. We've even missed out on the women's selection, the senior national team. So all these aspects of the national teams in the country, from the junior to the senior, a lot needs to be looked at. A lot of investment needs to be looked at. Investment not just on the personnel, as the coach, the assistant, the technical staff, but on the quality of the players that we're calling. I keep saying that we need to build from the B's, because of why? We will start building some of these players from the under 17. They have a clear path to the senior national team. Sunita will have one of the best national team in this country. A player will play one day in the under 17, the next day you see him in the senior national team, and then the next month you don't even see him again. He's like completely abandoned. There's no clear track consistently that he moves from the under 17, is followed to the under 20, is followed to the CHAN selection, is followed to the senior national team. We are not saying that the track cannot be surpassed, for example, or cannot be skipped. Like if somebody is performing well in the under 20s, there's no issue pushing him to the senior national team. But what we're saying is this: when you push him to the senior national team, the next month we should see him either in the CHAN or back to the under 20. We should not completely forget about the fact that we had a good player like that. I am saying so because I know that there's a guy in the Southwest region that I've not seen again, I've not heard again. That is, of course, he plays with Akko United, the defender of Akko United.
He's currently taking part in the Easter Cup in Douala.
That is what we are saying. So we are looking at a situation where the follow-up is lagging. And I think that's where Africa really needs to invest more in making sure that there's a clear path of how players leave from one category of the national team in this country to another. Clear path. Under 17, next trend is under 20. We're not saying that the stages cannot be skipped, but when it is skipped, these players next time when they're not called to the national team, they are brought back to the under 20 and they keep being followed to the next selection of the national team. With that, we are going to have one of the best national teams in this.
And thank you very much. Let's take on some contributions from various viewers out there. Where he says, "Good evening to you in the studio. I am Zen Chopper Valerie, writing from Switzerland, and he says that to me, Mark Breeze is a fair choice, and I can only hope that let's see what he brings to the table. He now has the knife and the yam with all to play for and there to accomplish the two assignments given to him that he puts in bracket the 2025 AFCON and equally the 2026 World Cup equally. And he goes further to say that looking at the 72 hours that was equally given by the executive committee for Samuel Eto'o to appoint his new coach, he said it has already elapsed for me, and either ways I think that Eto'o and co should make peace with the decision. And he goes forward to say that the man is not that bad unless they can provide someone better within the same budget line. And he goes further to say that more so I think that all this is a matter of ego and one feeling disrespected, which is true, but Canadian Russell with a lion, and he goes that two wrongs cannot make a right. I thank you very much, Azencho Valivi, and I think that he made some very pertinent contributions in terms of this particular issue of Mark Brace and equally the Faker Photo Bureau. And the question I wonder he actually pointed out that got me up when he's asking that if there was another choice and that was better than Mark Brace. I think that the Federation equally, or many other Cameroonians equally, will tell you that yes, there is a better option to this particular Mark Brace appointment. To you, who can better fit into his shoes? Remember, Mark Brace has not yet started his work for you to be able to evaluate him. And maybe he might be the messiah that many of us have been anticipating and waiting for to change the narratives in terms of our football here in Cameroon. Or is it going to be the same old story that we are going to be narrating over and over? Roses, I think you want to say something?
Well, first of all, one thing we have to understand, we have to give him a chance. Like the same way I called last time around when we were discussing with Jim Ethike, that I indicated that we needed to give Mr. Rigobert Song a chance. The reason why many people did not give Rigobert Song a chance has to do with the fact that of or his record. Remember, he had a very bad record in terms of the junior selections of the national team, and equally the Olympic Lions. He didn't have a good performance in terms of that particular aspect. And many people did not really like Rigobert Song because they didn't know how he coaches. They didn't know his philosophy. It's not the philosophy of we will win. No, there's nothing that we will win. You need to have a clear philosophy. You need to have a clear idea that these are the players that I want. This is the system that I'm going to play. But unfortunately, you could not really pinpoint and find out what Rigobert Song's best 11 is. Yeah. I remember, time in memorial, we kept saying that what is the 11 of Rigobert Song? Aside from Marc Mbeumo, probably Kato Ekambi, no, not Farid. Farid came in at the bench. I'm talking about the first 11 that you will say, get them in the night or in the morning, and they say, okay, so later, what's the best 11 of Rigobert Song? You just like, in goalkeeper we have Andre Onana, up front we have Brian Mbeumo, probably Toko Ekambi, and probably if 5 Collins at the club, we'll put 5 Collins and Gisa. Who again? You cannot really pinpoint the best 11. So that's what the problem that Coach Rigobert Song had. But Mark Brace is not different from Rigobert Song. We have to be honest in saying that the quality of Mark Brace is almost like the quality of Rigobert Song. That's not to say that he cannot do well. Look at his number of games that he has played. Look at the number of games he has lost. Look at the number of games he has played and scored. The last couple of games before he left OH Leuven in Belgium, defeat. So what we're saying is this: he could be the joker that we are missing. Remember, Hugo Broos came to like a man that we didn't know much about and succeeded in giving to us our fifth AFCON. Because Isao came up almost like that. And what happened? He went to the third place as far as the AFCON is concerned. Unfortunately, he was building a team, and afterward, you know what happened. So, we need to give him a chance. But what is the alternative? I think that's a question that he is pondering. What is the alternative out there? It's very few. Peseiro is the man we were looking at. Peseiro is demanding a huge amount of money. Can Peseiro cut down on his amount that he was taking with Nigeria to come and coach Cameroon? I don't think so. Hervé Renard is asking about 80-something million a month. Hervé Renard is being paid about 70 or so with the women's national team in France. Do you think that he want to come and take 40 when he's only 70?
No, he can't.
It's possible, but it's
Depending on the
slim.
negotiation.
Yeah, depending on negotiation, but it's slim. Fabio Cannavaro, a former Italy great defender who played very well with Italy, won the World Cup. The only defender to have won the Ballon d'Or at the moment. Fabio Cannavaro is like Robert Song. Where has he coached? What is his capabilities? Very slim. So who is out there again that can be the man at the helm? Okay, let's come to the country. We'll talk about Coach David Pagou. Yeah, Coach David Pagou has a palmarès as an assistant.
Yeah.
But can David Pagou be the man at the helm? Why not?
He can. I think we
Why
have
not?
seen him handle
So there's equally
claims.
just that I've forgotten the name. There's these two guys, Anisen Bagafue, there's this other coach. These two guys, they are coaching in Edingsport of the Lekki, and at the moment they are on course to take Edingsport back to the Elite One Football Championship. Can you imagine, Sunita? Two top quality coaches, local, going to one team. Wherever have you heard about that? It's just like saying that at the moment we have Mr. Guy Kambia, Pam, the number one coach. We have Dimitar Panter, Pam. Two guys, they're going to be. It's not going to work.
No,
but Anisen Bagafue and I think I just forgot his name. But these two guys have decided to coach Edingsport, and for the past season they've coached Edingsport to the level that Edingsport is now top of classification and leading to the Elite One Football Championship. So we have to look at, we have good coaches in this country. The only problem that I have at the moment with the coaching department of the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education is the fact that I don't know a lot. When you talk about the first assistant of the national team, I think it's Jean-Paul Akone, if I'm not mistaken. We don't really know what he has been doing. Couldn't we have gotten a local coach? Say Samuel Eto's list, they demand a lot of money. Couldn't we have taken David Pagou as an assistant? From the ministry's point of view, to me, that's what I'm just like, can we invest in our own local coaches? Give them assistants. Yeah, we don't want the big coach, but give them assistants. So to me, we could have taken
because now look at the blend.
Yeah.
Breeze has no African experience. Imagine him being blended with somebody like David Pagou, who knows the in and out of how Cameroon players, or equally the mentality, and he's already, should I say, familiar with the environment. I think he's going to be of a greater help to Mark Breeze in terms of him asking a lot of questions, this, that, how do you think, what do you think? I think that was supposed to equally definitely going to be a good blend, but unfortunately things are not going the way we all are equally wishing that things are going to be. And I think that if we want to talk about Mark Breeze, the inevitable outcome, what's going to transpire as the months keep going ahead, we are going to sleep here on set, but equally we have a lot of other issues to take on. And before we go to other issues, I think I have to take on these other contributions, where it is Idris from Douala, who says good evening to you in the studio, and he says like the other contributor said that two wrongs cannot make it right. I equally think that President Samuel Eto'o too has blundered very badly with the management of the federation, and he doesn't need to try to prove to be a saint. But I think that come rain, come sun, there is going to be an understanding between the two sides, and that's what we all are praying for. We take nothing from the federation, we take nothing from the ministry. All we want is to have peace and to see the national team go forward in their higher heights, and equally than what we equally performed in the just ended African Cup of Nations. And that is Idris all the way from Douala, giving out his own point of view. To you, what are you anticipating for? What are you waiting to see? What do you want to equally have as a rest on your shoulders or your chest to say that, okay, I think I have a calm head, and this is what I am waiting to see in June in terms of the new management that has been put in place. And away from the Indomitable Lions then, and equally President Samuel Eto's ultimatum that was equally given by the executive committee. Let's talk on what's happening between the Elite One corridors. And find you that we're getting closer to the end of the MTN Elite 1 and 2 playoff, where we're going to kickstart this particular one. Looking at some exciting moments that transpired this afternoon, where it's Ice Level Sports Academy that beat up Unisport, that was equally topping this particular classification of the play down for the M10 Elite 2. We have Juma Ekose. I think I can't close this particular edition of High Sport without talking about this consistent goal machine player who put on an objective right from the start of this particular season, which is new side Ice Level Sports Academy, leaving Victoria United as the highest goal scorer in terms of the Cup of Cameroon, and coming to Ice Level Sports Academy to continue this journey of always securing goals. As we speak at the moment, he stands with 11 goals in terms of this particular season, and he had his ambition to also qualify or to emerge as the highest goal scorer. I will see Juma Ekosa climbing this ladder little by little. And to you, Boris Osona, I know you have been following this particular player since the start of the Regional League, and I think you should be proud to say that you saw him work out and you saw consistency, and now he is actually delivering what we all have been anticipating and wishing to see from this particular player.
Well, Tonita, words cannot really cannot describe Ekose Njuma at the moment, because it's a guy who, like you said, who followed right from the Regional Football Championship. One of the we have to take credit also of spotlighting Ekose Njuma. Many are talking about Juma now thanks to your work that you did from the Southwest Regional League when he was playing with the Catholic University Sports Academy. From what we put in to make sure that we spotlight this particular guy, because we believe that Ekose Njuma's visibility is key. We believe that Ekose Njuma needs to be in the national team, whether it's the senior national team, whether it's the under 20 or the under 17 or the chance selection. He has a place in one of these selections. Like we said, there needs to be a clear path. There needs to be individuals followed from one level to another. And Ekose Njuma is one of those guys that has really proven well and proven his that he is a goal scorer. Like you said, from the Southwest Regional Football Championship, he finished as the highest goal scorer. He moved to Victoria United, finished as the highest goal scorer. We know what happened. He went to the M10 Elite 2 Football Championship. What has been happening now? 11 goals scored in the M10 Elite 2 Football Championship, combining with regular season and in terms of the playoff. 5 goals scored already in the M10 Elite 2 playoff. 3 assists given already.
Definitely.
So in total, he has been involved in 13 goals contribution. 13
for
Isosa this football season. So, like I said, he's a humble guy. When you talk with him, he's a guy who is passionate about football. He's a guy who is passionate that he wants to succeed. And I believe that with the right environment, that from Victoria United, we know he went out under not a good circumstance, but I think from when he went to Victoria United, the path was made clear. When he moved to Victoria United, Isosa, I think those guys there have been guiding him, teaching him, making sure that he doesn't get crowded, because you know sometimes when you have fame, you might want to do things that so I think he has been grounded. Same too with Ari Jefta, who has been very much one of the key players of Isosa this campaign. And not forgetting Yachet, another guy who has been very superb from the left back. There is Wilson Gange Jr., who has been mouth-watering midfielder by excellence. And not forgetting their captain, Brice Ashu. So Isosa is not just a one-man team. Yes, we are giving credit to Njuma that he has scored a goal. Rightly so. We have to give him credit because he has been scoring the goals. But if you look at the team of Isosa, the only thing lacking is the finance of Bob Didi. No, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The only thing lacking at the moment is the finance. That's the financial power of Bob Didi. If they could have that financial power, believe me,
half of what?
Believe me, Isosa will be one of the most followed clubs in the region, but they don't have, and they are doing with what they have, and what they have is the unity, making sure that their players are grounded. And I think congratulations to Mr. Kanjo Njomoso, the president of Isusa, for maintaining Isusa in the MTN too. Because before the start of the playoff down, he cried bitterly that their hands who want Isusa to go back to the regional league. And we can really say at the moment that Isusa MTN 2 next year.
Definitely.
That is signed, it is sealed, and it is delivered to the people in Limbe to say that Isusa is an M10 Elite 2 football side for next football season.
And that comes
at the moment. They have 13 points. Top of the M10 Elite 2 football championship playoff down. 2 points ahead of Unisport Bafang. 1 game left. Just a draw, and that's all.
And that's equally to reiterate that they finished fifth in terms of the classification.
Definitely. And see, I was very displeased and I was very disheartening and very bitter the fact that Isusa did not qualify for the playoffs in terms of Elite 2. Because if you look at the quality that they had in the games that they played, if not for ISFAB, that they had the problems during the regular season, picked up a draw. They went again. Edding is definitely, like I said, Edding has, and he said Baga Fue. Edding Sport has Bonaventure John Kepler, that's the name I was looking for. 2 top coaches for Edding Sport. Edding Sport is above all in the Elite 2 Football Championship. So rightly so, they had to face a lot of difficulty. So Isusa has to come back after the last game and put a lot of things together. Yes, there are people who are fighting the president, but I think the next point of call has to be with making sure that the club is highly marketized, is marketed. Marketed why? Remember we've been discussing here that a club cannot survive on its own.
Very true.
A club must survive with partners. I don't know, Sunita. I don't know, sometimes this club when we talk about it's like they don't hear us. I always use an example of Canon Sportive of Yaoundé. I always use Canon. Look at Canon. How many?
Even Bambutu started that.
The advantage of Cotton is that they are selling.
Definitely.
They don't have a lot of. They have UNICEF. They have
a lot of companies in the north. Just the Cotton itself has a hand in need equally.
So the like I said, only their one selling of players. How much did they got from Jean-Eric Musu, who's playing now in Valenciennes? So only that Cotton is fine. They don't even need to over complain. Yeah, they can complain about salvation, but they don't need to over complain. So I think that's the next step that these clubs have to be looking at. If you are an Elite 2 side, how many teams are buying your jersey? Yes, they are selling jerseys, but can the jersey really take you to the level that you want to go? How many will buy for 10,000? Not a lot. So you need to invest again in making sure that you sell a lot of jerseys, not just in Limbe, Boya, Tiko. We have clubs in Yaoundé. You have Yaoundé, you have Douala, you have international markets. So you have to invest in that domain.
I think
you have to invest in marketing your club.
This is one of the domains where Victoria United is actually
shadowing other teams. And I'm hoping that next year Isusa invests in marketing his club. Through what? They need to know that games have to be broadcasted by them. They need to go in that direction. Congratulations, Opopo is doing that. Opopo TV, people are following the games on Opopo TV. I think that's another domain that Isusa needs to look at. Making sure that they build a media team. I was very disheartened again. I say so why? Look at what it's not like I am siding with Opopo. But when they do things good, let's appreciate them and let's commend them.
Definitely.
When Opopo moves to a game, I'm one of those journalists that follows. I am not afraid to say that. I'm one of the journalists who follow through the management of Victoria United to make sure that we give coverage to the team. Isusa went to West without any call from a journalist. Let's be honest with ourselves. So, in as much as we are saying that they have qualified, but they need to also understand Basil is there. Basil is one of those journalists who gave them coverage
during
the normal season, and even the Interpol sacrificed from his pocket to move to Yaoundé. Can't Isusa say Basil come and be 2 days in West and cover our game and let's give visibility? So I'm hoping that they are listening and take into account that next year Go into
Things have
partnership.
to change.
There's High TV, there's Dash. There are a couple of clubs who can give visibility to your club. Move to them and also invest in getting partnership to your club. Like you said, in Limbe, there's Sonara, there's CDC, there are a lot of private companies. So if you don't want to be in, go to Douala, strike deals.
Just as we
Not
have
only
Super
deals,
Moya.
not only deals for your club, but deals of selling players.
That's another issue.
Selling players. So congratulations first of all to Isosa. It's a job well done. One game left, and we're hoping that they approach that one game with the zeal that let me finish top of the table. I think that's the objective now that I believe Isosa should have at the moment. And congratulations to Coach Joseph Ndoko. I think when he came in, there was a lot of stick at the moment from Coach Leneme, who took over Isosa, took them to the Elite 2 Football Championship. Yes, we know that they didn't separate in the best of terms or so, but first of all, like I said last time around, Coach Len Eme, his name is written in the history book of Isosa. There's never a day, definitely, nobody can erase that Coach Len Eme took Isosa to the M10 Elite 2 Football Championship. That one is written in stones and times, so we cannot change it. But I think it's high time that they bury the hatchet, like we're saying with Fekafood and the ministry. And I think he has done that. I think look at his outing in a WhatsApp group. When Isosa is playing, he's encouraging the boys that let's go for the victory. So I think that's what we want to see. And we hope that the management recognize Coach Len Eme as one of the pillars of this team and bring him in one way or form or other. It might not be in the coaching department, but in another sphere as far as Isosa is concerned. Because we want to see
that's going to be for
no, I know. I'm not saying that today. No, I'm not saying today. Like I'm just putting it out there like a wish that they recognize him in one way or the other. Like I said, they didn't separate in the best of terms.
Definitely.
They should go back and rectify that error. That even next year, one way or form, shape or form, Coach Len Eme should be part of this team and he gets his befitting outing that it's rightly demanded and given to him. So first of all, congratulations to the management of Isosa that they are an Elite 2 football side for next football season, and we're hoping that next year there's going to be one league format. They step up the ambition of getting to the M10 Elite 1 Football Championship, and they join their brothers Victoria United of Limbe.
And I think that this equally played out as well. It has been as a training manual tool for Isolo Sports Academy. And away from the Elite 1, the Elite 2 rather, let's talk on to the Elite 1 Championship, where the battle line is getting closer, tighter. Who is going to widen it up? We don't yet know. And mind you that we're talking about just 1 point difference from the various for the first 4 teams that are actually standing in terms of the classification of the MTN Elite 1 Championship. We're talking about Young Sports Academy that has a total of about 10 points, followed by Koton Sport of Galwa, defending champions, who has an objective to maintain this particular title this year.
So
that's what that was their general objective, and they narrowed it down to specific objective to defeat Victoria United. And yes, that most anticipated game is coming up this Friday, and that's going to be at the Mbappe Pay Stadium. And equally to remind you that these games will be played at the same time, 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. so that they should avoid a match fixing from the various sides. And now over to you, Boris Osono. We find Young Sports, we find Koton Sport of Galwa, Victoria United at the 3rd position, and at the 4th position it's Silent Column of Nja and Lobo, who is mingling as if she's not interested in this title, but she comes and pick and go. To you, we have in the 6th day of play that will be coming up, just left with 1 day of play after this particular April 12th. To you, who is going to be the new name? I should put it like this.
Who's going to be the name?
Yeah, okay, who is going to be the name? Looking at these 4 clubs.
The name for now is Koton Sport of Galwa.
To you, okay.
I said the name for now is Koton Sport of Galwa.
Why?
Remember, last year I said the same thing, that Koton did not have a good season. They went to the playoff and won the league. This same season again, Cotton did not have a good season. They only finished second. What happened? Now they are in the playoffs. Yeah, the playoff has not gone so smoothly, but they still have a chance to win the league. The next game is very crucial this weekend, like you said. Victoria United against Cotonsport of Garoua. I see that as the final also.
And remember that these are sides that have met twice this season.
Yeah.
With Cotonsport of Garoua beating during the first leg and coming to the Centenary, picking up a draw against Victoria United.
Yeah, so 4 points Cotonsport has taken from Victoria United, and this Friday is going to be, I term it, the final. The final, why? Because if Victoria United is picking a victory in this particular game, there is a high probability that they win the last game.
Don't forget
and
Star
win the league.
Arena.
No, forget about Star Arena. Star Arena is nowhere to be found. Star Arena is out of the at the moment. So too is Dynamo of Douala. They cannot do anything to win the league.
I just hope that as the same way you're calculating Victoria United beating up Cotonsport of Garoua.
No, I didn't say they will beat. I just used an
that's
example.
if they have to defeat.
Yeah,
we have silent column wins at the back, sitting quietly.
No, if you look at the table at the moment, the table is quite.
Column has 8 points.
USA 10 points, Cotonsport 9 points, Victoria United 9 points, Column with 8
8
points. So Column is the only side that can really cause a problem at the moment. Canon is 2, Dynamo 3, Gazelle 5, Star Arena with 6. So Star Arena, they need to win their 2 games and hope that the other side don't pick up a draw and a victory in their last 2 games. So it's a long stretch. So Cotton needs to lose, Victoria needs to lose the game, you cycle it. So it's a long way for Star Arena to win this. So it's a 3-way tie at the moment for me. I see USA, I see Cotonsport, or a 4-way tie. USA, Cotton, Victoria United, and Colomb. Those are the 4 signs that to me can win the league. The reason why I say Cotton can win is the fact that it has to do with the final. So to me, the teams that pick up a victory this Friday
Yes,
will win the league.
very true.
Any of the teams that pick up a victory.
Very true.
Why do I say so? If Yosa picks up a victory,
She goes to 13 points.
it goes to 13, and their last game is going to be crucial. They just need to win it and they are champions. So if Yosa pick up a victory this Friday against Canon Sportif of Yaoundé, Sonita, Yosa will win the league. Because of what? They know that the last game they need to win, and they will do everything possible to win.
Yes.
So this game, like I said, this Friday is a championship final for Yosa and for Cotonsport and Victoria United. If Victoria United picks up a victory against Coton,
12 points.
12 points, it's going to be crucial. And the last game they can win it. Because if Cotonsport or Yosa draws, then they are on a good footing to win the league. So this Friday is the Friday of the title decider to me. And I believe that Cotton will do everything possible, like you said, in their specific objective. They want to make sure that they beat Victoria United and equally to win the league. So
definitely,
for me, Cotton is still a team to win, to defeat, despite the fact that Yosa is top. But Yosa missed out in that last game against Cotton. If they had won Cotton, 80% Yosa would have won the title.
Yes.
So they missed out on that, and they have now this Friday to make up. And if they can make up against Canon, to me, Sonita, Yosa will become champions.
Remember that when Limbe hosted the National Interpose, we had 2 games going on simultaneously, and the fate of another was depending on another. And a team that was nowhere to be found, like NGV, if I'm not making a mistake, decided to tie the opponent when she knew that she had nothing to lose, and we are and we are asking ourselves, let Kanan go and do what we are equally anticipating, giving her all just to hold Young Sports Academy, especially when they have to know what's at stake, because we have seen such happen, and we are praying that the boys of the coaching to be blessed to be able to change the narratives.
Sunita, I think we're about closing very soon, but football is a very dicey and tricky scenario. We might discuss here that Victoria United will win Cotonsport, and we go and see another Cotton win. We might see here that Cotton will manhandle Victoria United, and Victoria United will Richmond Jews on. I think that's another player that we need to really spotlight, who is on
16 goals now.
A very impressive season in the league this year. I think he has had his best campaign ever since he has played as football is concerned. and he's a player that I really want to see. Like I said, like I was talking about Kosen Juma, Richmond G is another player that I really want to see in the various levels of the national team, either the under 20 or the chance selection, or even giving a call up to the national team whenever we have friendly games. So it's a guy that I really want to see. Yes, we've talked about Jules Amamanko, but yeah, Jules Amamanko has performed, but I did think the man at the moment is Richmond G as far as the United is concerned. Secondly, is Chindo John Bosco, the top goal scorer in the playoffs at the moment. Almost single-handedly taking his side to the championship medal in the Elite One. These three guys, Richmond G, Chindo, John Bosco, Ikosen Juma, really want to see them as far as the various selections of the national team is concerned. And football is played on the pitch and not on paper. We might discuss it, that things might happen, and we end of the day see Canon walloping Yusa as far as Friday's encounter is concerned. So things can happen.
Yeah.
Football is on the pitch, and football is not in the mind, it's not on the paper, but what transpired on the pitch.
That's to you, Boris Asono. But now, before we take leave of you, Boris Asono, prediction for that game, Young Sports Academy and Kano.
Well, I really want to see a victory for Yusa because, first of all, they are an Anglophone side. They're a side that I have been following for the past couple of months. They're a side who have a lot of individuals who are working in their heart for the love of the game. Our brother, Mr. Kosimbong, Mr. Nji Richmond, these are guys who are putting their all in making sure that Yusa goes to that level. And not forgetting Madam Wancha Cynthia, equally of the Young Sports Academy of Bamenda. It's a club that is dear to so many hearts in the Northwest region. If PwC is relegated, Yusa is the only side that is left in the Elite One Football Championship. I'm not saying that PwC is relegated. I'm just saying that if, at the moment they're in the red zone. So the only side that we really want to see, at least for the fact that Yusa, PwC have been playing out of Bamenda for the past couple of years, they can take back the medal and the championship to Bamenda. I think that will speak a lot of volume. Remember, the Bamenda Proximity Stadium is going to another level. So probably next year, they might play in Bamenda as far as Elite One is concerned. So I really want to see them win this particular game. And for the game against, so I think prediction to me, I wish that Yusa will win. Score line, I don't really know, but I think Yusa will win. It's going to be a tough game between Cotton and Yusa. I see a joy in this particular game, but if Victoria United play the way they played in the last game against Canon, I believe they can win this particular game.
Okay, thank you very much once more, and we thank you for always answering our call when we call our Boris Asono. And equally to you watching us, thank you very much, and to all those who contributed, and equally to those who called and I didn't allow the doors for calls on this edition. Sorry we didn't take your calls, and equally to all those who contributed. The contributions were too long for us to equally read all of them. I want to say thank you very much, and just to remind you that remember we had the president of Liver Alliance, Godin Zama, who equally told us some of the plights that the club is actually facing, and equally the MTN Elite 1 and 2 and the fixtures for Friday, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday that will be coming up. Remember, we're going straight into the 6th day of play for the MTN Elite 1 in terms of the playoff and the play down. You wouldn't want to miss any. Pick any location and go, and why not entice your eyes with beautiful football. It's going to be the finals of the finals for Friday in terms of the MTN Elite 1 playoff. Are you a supporter of Young Sports Academy? Are you a supporter of Canon, Gazelle, and equally Column of Njan Lebo, Victoria United, Cotton Sport of Garwa? It's left over to you to go and support your darling team. Remember that the 12-man player always has the way that it gingers these players who are given injury or to be able to satisfy you. And yes, it with this particular reminder that we get to draw the curtains of High Sport this evening on High Television. And before we take leave of you, we want to appreciate this, I call her one-man army, Tamfo Clothing, for manipulating the 10,000 buttons, and equally to make it possible that we could equally talk to the president of Live and Lions. And yes, it's on this particular note that I have to say bye-bye from my end to yours.